Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Government under fire for the appointment of Dennis Chung. Rank and file members of the JCF to be paid increments in coming days. And later in sports, Dennis Chung retires as JFF General Secretary. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kerry Simpson. Here are the details. The People's National Party is opposed to the appointment of Dennis Chung as Chief Technical Director of the Financial Investigation Division, FID. Speaking at a party meeting in Central Kingston last night, opposition spokesman on national security Peter Bunting questioned the appointment, calling it corrupt.
A man who has publicly attacked the Integrity Commission report and publicly disagreed with its findings, and publicly said that Andrew Wonis has done nothing wrong. So why would a man that has already declared his bias in the public be appointed as the same agency, to head the same agency that is to do the investigation?
For his part, opposition leader Mark Golding questioned Mr. Chung's credentials.
The FID investigates financial crimes. The person in charge must be somebody with experience in that. The person who they've appointed is just an accountant, has no forensic experience, no law enforcement experience, no anti-money laundering experience. It is inappropriate in every way. And comrades, I hope that Jamaican civil society, I hope that the churches, I hope that the private sector groups, I hope that the trade union movement, and I hope that well-thinking Jamaicans draw a line in the sand on this one. Because if this is allowed to stand, Jamaica's future dark.
To other news, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chung has announced that rank-and-file members of the JCF will be paid increments in the coming days. He made the revelation yesterday at the 82nd Annual Police Federation Conference being held in Hanover. Now, his response comes following strong rebuke by his opposition counterpart Peter Bunting about the delayed payment.
The increment will be paid in June. And for those who are new, that was the understanding from the time we went to the compensation package, that they would execute the new pay scale across the public sector, and in June 2025, we'll pay the increment, and it will be paid on time. I want to assure you.
Meanwhile, in his closing address on Tuesday, Dr. Chung says he is committed to continue working with the Central Committee of the Police Federation. He admitted the relationship was rocky in the past.
At some point I won't mention, was certainly the final leg of our negotiation when I spent many hours. I don't want to take a commendation with it. I learned more about the police force. And I want to say that, not a confession, but humbly, I learned what the police was about in those many hours in the negotiation. I never understood what it meant when you said underpayment. I sat in those hours and was almost embarrassed at some of the compensation requirement that you're going through.
The St. Mary police are investigating a fatal crash along the Golden Grove Main Road on Wednesday. Reports are that approximately 5:55 p.m., a white Toyota Mark X motor car was traveling in the direction of Anata Bay when the driver failed to negotiate a right-hand bend. The vehicle veered off the roadway and crashed into a drain and subsequently caught fire. 3 occupants were in the vehicle, including a police officer. They were transported to the Anata Bay Hospital, where 1 man was pronounced dead while being treated. The 2 others sustained serious injuries, 1 critically. Investigations are ongoing. A $1 billion Ferry to Rock Pond pipeline project was launched on Tuesday. The initiative aims to improve water access for several Red Hills communities of St. Andrew. Shimala Pullen reports.
More than 26,000 residents in Red Hills and nearby communities in St. Andrew are said to receive a more reliable and consistent water supply. This is from the implementation of the over $1 billion Ferry to Rock Pond pipeline project. The project is led by the National Water Commission. It will install over 7,000 meters of pipeline and build 2 pumping stations, storage tanks, and upgrade the existing infrastructure.
This project is long in coming. Maybe about 4 years ago, had occasion to interact with several citizens in the community. And their greatest complaint was about water.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness at the groundbreaking ceremony acknowledged past financial constraints, but reaffirmed the government's push to modernize the country's water system.
As I listened to the complaints, I came to the conclusion that the residents had passed the level of being patient with government, whoever is the government.
Dr. Holness also opened the Forest Hill Solar PV project. This is an $81.5 million initiative featuring a 350 kW solar power system to support energy needs and boost resilience in water delivery.
We have 58 such projects like we're doing today, for which we're going to break ground for every single one of them, because we have to make the people of Jamaica see and understand that for the 9 years that you have elected this government, we have demonstrated the wherewithal to be able to deliver not just the projects that we originated, but the projects that were promised by previous administrations. This administration has been delivering them.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Dr. Holness continues to defend the work of his administration. He says despite the spread of what he terms misinformation, the accomplishments of his party are evident.
Pure rumor and lies. And how does a government confront that? We confront it by giving people hope of the things they desire and show them the evidence as to how it can be achieved. That is what this administration is doing. We will not join them in the gutter of lies. We will not join them in deceiving the people. We are the first government in the history of Jamaica, uncontestable, I dare anyone to, uncontestable, to have the record of achievements that we have had and will continue to have. We can campaign on achievements.
An appeal this afternoon from the St. James Public Health Department for vendors and owners of food establishments in Montego Bay to pay closer attention to how they dispose of their waste. Details in this report.
It's been 5 days since the St. James Public Health Department launched its Rodent Eradication program in Montego Bay, St. James, and already monitoring is taking place. Tanique Bailey-Small is the medical officer of health in the parish.
It's really meant to improve. It's really meant to build on the work that we're already doing in the area. So at this point, it requires all hands on deck.
Despite numerous complaints and warnings, some vendors and owners of food establishments continue to breach the law. It's why some have called for the St. James Municipal Corporation to ramp up enforcement. The medical officer of health also wants another approach to be used.
That is the importance of public education, of persons understanding the implications of not handling food properly, not storing food properly, or also in terms of disposal of their garbage and waste. So that is something that we want to ensure persons understand that and getting the information out there.
Meanwhile, Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, is expecting to see a significant reduction in rodents in the weeks ahead. He noted that the Rodent Eradication program comes on the heels of the Step Up program launched last year. Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.
Mayor of Falmouth, Colin Gager, is applauding the police for the crime reduction in the parish. It comes as Trelawney celebrates a sharp decline in major crimes since the start of 2025.
For the first time in history, our crime rate has gone down so low, and we are happy that Trelawney is a part of it. And I feel good. I'm hoping.
Mayor Gager says the reduction is a boost for tourism in Trelawney.
Tourism has done for Trelawney, and we will always support. And indeed, it will only be a safer place where people coming out will want to come to Falmouth, Trelawney, because it's a much safer place. So we want to keep it that way. We want to make sure that our visitors come in, enjoy the place, they leave, they are safe, and they will go back and tell their friends or relatives that Trelawney is indeed a safe place.
It's time for a break. Stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News, and it's now time for the Business Minute. The Universal Service Fund says it will install 63 additional community Wi-Fi hotspots across Jamaica by the end of the fiscal year. This will be in addition to the 380 Wi-Fi hotspots already available across the island. CEO Charlton McFarlane says this is part of the USF's continued efforts to bridge the gap between those who have access to digital services and those who don't. Further afield, the United Nations expects millions of potential jobs will vanish this year because of an economic slowdown triggered by President Donald Trump's trade war. A UN agency predicts 53 million jobs will be created worldwide this year. The International Labour Organization says the number reflects 7 million fewer jobs than previously expected. The shakier economic outlook is blamed on trade disruptions and geopolitical tensions. The agency says there are nearly 84 million jobs across 71 countries that are directly or indirectly tied to U.S. consumer demand, and that makes them vulnerable to the impact of U.S. tariffs. The report's analysis was based on the International Monetary Fund's downgraded expectations for the global economy for the year. And that's it for the Business Minute. Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, outgoing Caribbean Court of Justice President Adrian Saunders has raised concerns over Guyana's lack of a confirmed head of the judiciary. He called it most regrettable that the country still has no appointed chancellor or chief justice. Since 2005, Guyana has only had acting chancellors and acting chief justices since 2001. Saunders said it is unacceptable for any country to lack a permanent judiciary head for 20 years and urged authorities to act immediately. On the international scene, Elon Musk announced he's stepping down from leading President Trump's cost-cutting task force, the Department of Government Efficiency DOGE. Appointed as a special government employee, Musk was limited to 130 workdays per year, which he'll reach by late May. He thanked Trump in a post on X, saying he hopes the agency's mission continues. His departure follows criticism of Trump's expensive tax and defensive spending bill. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Anthony Atkinson.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.